Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Yes, it's absolutely true. I have been scouted by... No, not really. I just happened to notice this on WTF1's Twitter feed and I thought I'd have a little look at it. And as you can see, it says WTF1 talent. We've had an incredible response to our call for F1 content creators. We'll get back to each and every one of you. Realise your potential. Representing and supporting a global network of content creators in Formula 1. Full website coming soon. Now, isn't this what I was saying a couple of weeks ago about they need to access the full talent that's on offer? It was me that said that, and that's exactly what they're doing. This is unbelievable. I should sue for copyright. Anyway, I thought, I'll respond to that. So I said, I might give that a try, as a joke, because obviously they haven't seen any of my videos. And guess who liked the tweet? Oh, look, WTF1 talent. So there you go, everyone. I may soon be leaving these hallowed grounds and moving on to WTF. No. Anyway, on to the next story now, and it's quite a sad story, in fact. Well, sad for Charles Leclerc, who unfortunately has had his address leaked online. Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc has asked fans to stay away from his house after his address was leaked online, saying, "I won't be coming downstairs if you visit my home." I should hope not either. You never know who's going to be the other side of that door, I'll tell you. Unbelievable scenes. Anyway, I'm really not bothered myself whatsoever. So if anyone wants to come round to my house and, have a little jam session with me, then please feel free to do so. My address is... So let's have a look at this article a little bit more in detail then and see what it says. So, the Ferrari driver's Monaco address was leaked online, and since then fans have been turning up hoping for a photo. Now, of course, for every 5 good fans, there's always a nutter. Number 6 is usually the nutter, and this seems to be the case. For the past few months, my home address has somehow become public, leading to people gathering beneath my apartment, ringing my bell and asking for pictures and autographs, Leclerc wrote on Instagram. While I'm always happy to be there for you and truly appreciate your support, please respect my privacy and refrain from coming to my house. Leclerc, who has won 5 races for Ferrari and taken 18 pole positions, said he will always stop photographs and photos from fans in the street. But he said he will no longer respond if fans come to his door. "I won't be coming downstairs if you visit my home," he wrote. "Your support, both in person and on social media, means the world to me, but there is a boundary that should not be crossed." Now, this is a very interesting point and sort of makes me think about too much social media content can actually feed the fuel of this fire. Now, Charles Leclerc, as we know, has got a very successful YouTube channel of his own. He's got 594k subs. Well, of course he would do. He's Charles Leclerc, isn't he? So, yeah. So, a very successful YouTube channel. I've also seen him on Twitch as well and other places. I saw him dressed up as a banana, I do believe, at some point. But this is the problem about too much interaction on social media can lead to these kind of problems. Now, of course, back in the day, nobody knew a thing about Formula 1 drivers. No, nobody knew a thing about them. The only way you knew about Formula 1 drivers was articles in magazines. That's why the build-up to any race Grand Prix was the most important part of an F1 race, because it was the only time you got to see what the drivers were up to outside of their racing life, because they always seem to do like profiles of a certain driver each time there was a Grand Prix, and you really got to understand sort of how the F1 driver ticked, to be honest. But these days, well, just go on any social media site and you can find the F1 drivers plastered everywhere. I mean, we got Charles Leclerc, as I said. We've also got Lando Norris. He's got his own YouTube channel as well. And he's got quite a few subscribers, 875. So he's doing very well. And of course, Lando Norris has also got the Quadrant as well, which he's involved with. So there's a lot of social media content there. And unfortunately, I do believe that it does bring out the nutters. Yes, the nutters. And unfortunately, I would rather think that for Charles Leclerc, he's probably going to have to move at some point. I mean, you know, don't feel too sorry for him. He's got quite a bit of money. It's just a bit of a pain in the arse if you've got the apartment just how you like it to now have to uproot yourself and go somewhere else. But I do believe for Charles Leclerc that may be his only option, because this kind of thing is not going to stop now. You know, he's not going to it's not going to suddenly die down. Unfortunately, in the UK, there is no such thing as privacy. We are into everything. I mean, look at politicians in the UK. Every news outlet knows where every politician lives, because as soon as they do something wrong, they go outside their front door just to go on their little bike ride or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. We've seen it so many times with Boris Johnson in the past. As soon as they walk out their front door, their press is everywhere, all over them, because, as I say, in the UK, privacy doesn't even exist. Everyone knows where everyone is. So, yeah, this is the problem, unfortunately, with social media and how it has, you know, caused this problem for Charles, I do believe, because, you know, if Charles wasn't as much prolific on social media, you wouldn't have this sort of things happening. Now, of course, there is the fan adulation as well, of course, because Charles Leclerc, he's a young man. He's, you know, to some, he's a very attractive young man. He doesn't do anything for me, of course, but to some, he's a very attractive young man, to a lot of young women as well. And, you know, let's just say some women, they can be a little bit crazy. I'm just saying, they can be a little bit crazy, just a little wee tad. And so, you know, things like this can happen. So I think what I'm trying to say really is that this oversaturation of social media. Now, of course, it's happened to Charles Leclerc. We've had problems with Lando Norris as well. He's often said in the press that he's a little bit fed up with invasions on his privacy. And these two drivers are the ones that are the most prolific on social media. There has to be a connection. There really has to be a connection. And I do believe that there are times when you put yourself out there a little bit too much, and unfortunately in some situations, like the fact with Charles Leclerc, repercussions have now come and people are knocking on his door at all hours asking for autographs. And as I say, I think he will eventually get so fed up with that he'll just have to move somewhere else, because it's just unattainable. Once your address is leaked, there's no going back. There really is no going back, and the only solution really is just to move somewhere else where no one's going to find you. Like Scotland or something. I don't know. Where can Charles go where because his address he'll get found out, because, as I say, especially in the UK, there is no privacy. Everything is just all out in the open. So there you go. So now we go on to the last story, and I can't even believe this has become a thing, but it has, yes. And it is the story about Felipe Massa, although I do believe it's mostly to do with Felipe Massa's father, not really Felipe Massa himself. But anyway, the story is, could Felipe Massa overturn Lewis Hamilton's 2008 world title? Felipe Massa lost the 2008 F1 World Championship by a single point following a season disgraced by the Crashgate race-fixing episode. New evidence that indicates the results should be rewritten has seemingly come to light, but should Massa pursue the matter? Yes, well, should Massa pursue the matter? Well, unfortunately, Felipe Massa, to a lot of people in Formula 1, was one of the good guys of Formula 1. And if he does go with this, he's really going to tarnish his reputation and possibly never come back from it, to be honest. I mean, I know he's retired now, he's doing other things, but your reputation means everything. And I just don't know. If he is trying to do this, I don't see the point. 2008, it was a very long time ago. Now, I know this has all come to light because Bernie the Bolt has been doing Bernie the Bolt things once again. Yes, stirring the shit, because that's what Bernie does. And he will continue to do that until the silly old codger finally drops off this earth, which won't be very long. Let's face it, won't be very long. I mean, he must be 104 by now, surely. But anyway, until that time comes, he will continue to cause controversy. And apparently he knew that the season of 2008 was fixed, but he didn't want the controversy, the drama. I mean, just me saying those words. He didn't want the drama back in 2008. And look what we got now. It's unbelievable. But yeah, so he knew that stuff was going on. He didn't want the drama. And so he just, like Bernie always did, brushed it under the carpet with some of those famous white envelopes, you know? Yeah. Yes. Forget the aftermath of Abu Dhabi 2021. The biggest title shock I experienced in over 350 Grand Prix was the sight of Felipe Massa fighting back tears on the 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix podium as 34 seconds of euphoria after, and not only that, his father in the pit garage, if you remember, Felipe Massa's father also thinking he'd won the championship and then suddenly being told he hadn't, and oh my god, his face went from in a few seconds. It was classic, absolutely classic. To the title by winning the season finale gave way to anguish as McLaren's Lewis Hamilton slivered past Timo Glock at the last corner of the last lap to snatch a crucial 5th place. Anyone who saw that championship back in the day and that last race, that was edge of your seat stuff. It really was, and possibly one of the greatest finishes to a world championship in Formula One ever, or at least in the current sort of lifetime. Obviously there was great races back in the day, back in the 60s and the 70s, but for us sort of modern F1 people, I would say that's probably one of the greatest finishes. But yes, apparently Felipe Massa sort of wants to go back and contest the championship of 2008. Now this sets a terrible precedent, because if this actually goes ahead, and I'm pretty sure this is just a complete non-story, to be honest, because I can't see that this could ever go ahead, because if it does, it will set a terrible precedent, and everyone else will start coming out now and claiming that, you know, these world championships weren't valid. So they can't even let this go through, otherwise the floodgates will just absolutely explode, won't they? With former drivers saying, oh, no, I should have won this race and what have you. These things happen, you know? And in Formula One, dodgy dealings happen. I know it doesn't seem possible, does it? But yes, dodgy dealings happen. Crashgate happened. A deliberate attempt for Fernando Alonso to finish the race in first place, which he did, was by Nelson Piquet Jr. smacking into the wall at Singapore under the direct orders of Flavio Briatore. He told him to smack it in the wall. Not in so many words, but he pretty much said smack it into the wall, which I don't get the mentality of Nelson Piquet Jr., because he could have seriously injured himself. What driver would actually take those orders? And could you imagine saying that to Lewis Hamilton? Lewis, it's Bono here. Right, I need you to crash into the wall for us. I mean, you'd know exactly what his reaction would be to that straight away without even asking, wouldn't you? You'd know what that would be. That would be, no, I'm not doing it. There's just no way I'm doing it. So for Nelson Piquet Jr. to actually smack it into the wall, which I still to this day can't believe that he actually did it. I mean, he was either momentarily stupid, or at that time he's just a very weak person who you know, he was sort of like, I'm taking orders without a question. I mean, he would have made a great kamikaze pilot. Let's put it that way. Bloody hell, he'd have been top of the class as a kamikaze pilot. You hit aircraft carrier. I'm there. Gone. Yeah, he would have been great, but I can't believe he actually went through and did it. But he did, and that is now history. And history is where it should stay. It really should stay as history. It shouldn't be dredged up now. And Felipe, if he goes ahead with this, then any respect he's ever had as a former racing driver will just disappear out the window. there has to be a statute of limitations, time limit for any of these championships now. You can't go back 15 years and start claiming, oh yeah, I should have won that. There must be a limit, and I would put that as a very strict limit of maybe 1 or 2 years. After that, results stand, and that's it. Unless some investigation a couple of years later it comes out and they find out that a certain team in the past was cheating rather severely. Unless that happens, there should be a limit of about 1 or 2 years, and then after that the results will stand, and that should be the end of it. You shouldn't be able to come back after 15 years and start claiming world championships. I mean, it's getting bad enough in Formula 1 now where you don't even know who's won the race by the time you get to the end because you've got all the steward decisions to work out, and we just don't want this added to the mix. Otherwise, it's just going to set a very poor precedent for the sport. What's in the past should stay in the past, and what's in the future should be the future, and that's what F1 needs to do. So hopefully this ridiculous non-story, which I wasn't even going to bother with, but I just thought I'd take it on the end of this video, should hopefully die a death, and nothing else should come of it. So that's my opinion anyway. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think of everything in the comments, and I will catch you in the next video.